Welcome to English. We're having your orientation. My name is Mrs. Klopp and I teach English 9 and English 12.
And I'm Mrs. Dunlap. I teach English 10 and 11, and we're so glad to have you here with us.
So go ahead and watch the rest of this video and it will give you all the important tips and tricks to try to be successful in English this quarter.
Welcome!
In order to access your English course, you're going to go to this website, canvas.instructure.com. It's really important that you pay close attention to the web address that you put into the address bar because many different school districts use Canvas to house their courses, and some districts use the purchased version, and so they have specific web addresses for their district. And so if you Google Canvas to try to go to this website, you're going to get a lot of options. So if you ever get into a situation where you're logging in and it's telling you that you have the wrong, incorrect username or password, then this is the first place we want you guys to check to make sure you're at the correct web address. And for our district, for our purposes, we're using canvas.instructure.com. Once you've reached the login page, you're going to enter your email. And for our purposes, it's your student email address. So it's going to be your 6-digit ID number, which is different for everyone, so that's why I just put the digits in it, at leusd.k12.ca.us. Your password is going to be your 8-digit birth date. So that's what you use for Play-Doh, it's what you use to log into your email, and so on. So you should be used to using your 8-digit birth date, and then you'll click Login. Once you log in, it's going to take you to your dashboard. And your dashboard is where you'll see all the courses that you've been enrolled in through Canvas. English uses Canvas, and some of our electives are housed on Canvas. So depending on what you're enrolled in, you can see 1 or 2 or maybe even 3 courses. When you've reached your dashboard, you'll decide what course you've come to work on, and you'll go ahead and click on the square for that course. Once you've clicked on that square, it's going to take you to your assignments.
I want to talk to you today about your calendar. You can see on the left side of the toolbar, where the toolbar is, that you have an icon for calendar. If you click that, you can always get to the assignments listed by due dates, which is a really great way to stay on track. Let's go to August, where your first assignments are. You'll see that this student has multiple calendars because he's taken multiple classes through Canvas at KMA. But now he can see all of the assignments listed for August. We will also give you a paper calendar that you can check off if you prefer, but I want you to know that at your fingertips you always have the calendar ready to go right here. And it's a really great way to keep on track. If you go back to your class, you can see that the homepage also lists the assignments week by week, and there are due dates listed for each of those assignments as well. So it's a really easy way to stay on track and get a good grade in this class. We don't hold you to the due dates as hard and fast. We do have deadlines that we do hold hard and fast. We highly recommend that you stick with these assignments, getting them in on or as close to the due date as possible. All of these week 1 assignments should be completed by the end of week 1. These week 2 assignments should be completed by the end of week 2. If you're not doing that, then you're going to be struggling and having a hard time when the hard and fast deadlines show up. So we really recommend that you use that calendar and that you stay on track with the assignments as they're due day by day.
This is an example of the paper calendar that you will see within each English class that you take. As you can see, it delineates the assignments that are assigned each day, and it also tells you when those specific assignments are due. This is one of the locations where you will be able to find your lock deadlines. Again, those are the deadlines where once they pass, certain assignments will no longer be accepted. So you can find these locked deadlines on the paper calendar at the top and embedded within on the specific dates which those deadlines will be. In addition, you can look around the classroom. We have several posters that outline the specific dates for each quarter because every quarter will have different deadlines and different weekly amounts. So you'll need to pay close attention to find when the specific deadlines are for you. Again, we want to make sure that you're working on English every day, but if something happens and you do fall behind, these locked deadlines are that little bit of buffer that you have.
This is your home page with your assignments listed week by week. And off to the side, you can see that you have a menu where you have a place for grades. You're going to click Grades. And there you'll see your grade book with all the assignments listed, how much each was worth, and how much you received for it. If you receive full score, you may not get a comment from your teacher. Sometimes you will say something like, great job, or tell you what you did really well. But you won't always because you got a perfect score, so there's not a whole lot to say. But if you didn't receive a perfect score, you will usually receive a comment, which will show up in a bubble like this one. If you click on it, the bubble itself may tell you what you did right or what needs to be fixed. Just need to comment on 2 of your classmates' posts, for instance. For him to increase the score, he needs to go back in that discussion and comment on 2 posts, and then he would be able to get a better grade. And this one, you can see he received 19 out of 27. So let's click on that that bubble. And it tells him to go to grades, which is where he is right now. Select this particular assignment and click View Feedback. So let's do that. We'll click this particular assignment. And then we see here it says View Feedback, which is where we were directed. So let's click that. And now we can see the assignment that this student submitted, but now it has comments from the teacher giving him some things to think about. Let's go to the end where the after reading questions are and look at those comments too. You can see that he lost 1 point for this question right here. It's connected to this bubble with this red dot. This one's connected here, meaning he lost 2 points because he didn't include evidence. And down here, he lost 3 points. Probably he didn't answer the question at all. So there's no comment because it's clear that the reason he lost those points was he didn't answer the question. So often there will be something for you to think about, or a prompt for what you can add, or a reminder that you didn't do this one at all. And then you'll know what to do to fix that assignment. You can open up the assignment you submitted, make those corrections, and resubmit the assignment just the way you submitted the assignment to begin with. As long as you do that before the ultimate deadline, you'll be able to increase your score for that assignment. So that's how you can view the feedback, the comments that your teacher leaves you after you have submitted assignments. It's very valuable to do this because it greatly increases your score, and it's not a lot of extra work because we tell you exactly what you need to do to improve that score. So please take this seriously. Use these tools. We take a lot of time to make these comments back to you specifically so you'll know how to improve, and we hope you take us up on the offer and make those improvements. A really good thing to do is to get notified when you have comments like these placed on your assignments. So we want to show you how to fix your notifications also. To do that, you're going to go to your account button, and then you'll see notifications, but first let's go to settings and change a few things there to be ready to receive notifications. So right now, the only way this student is being notified of anything is through his school email address, which is great. You can go to access your school email and look at what your comments are if you will do that. But people usually tend not to check their school email real often. So what we like you to do is add your personal email right here. So there's my Gmail account. I'm going to add that in there. I'm not going to click that I want to log into Canvas using this email address. I don't want to. All I want is to receive notifications there as well. And then I would click register this email. It would send me a link in the email to verify it, and then I'd be good to go. So I'm going to say register right now, and I'll have to confirm it. I'm not going to do that right now, but you can see that Now a second email is up here, not my email. You're going to put your own email there. And once you've added that email, it will be a way for you to be contacted, to be notified of things you need to know. We'd also like you to add your phone number. So you'll type that in here. You don't need to add any extra characters, just the number itself. So you would add yours in there. You'll have to select the carrier. And then it comes up with a way for them to text you directly to your phone. So you're going to register that and you'll get a link there. You'll put the code that you receive in there and you'll confirm it. And then that way you'll have a confirmed email and text for you to receive notifications. Okay, so once we've changed the settings, now we're going to go to notifications. And in notifications, you'll see that you have options. You can be notified right away with a check. You can be notified on a daily basis with this little clock. You can be notified with a weekly summary, that's a calendar, or you can ask not to be notified at all. And right now this student is checked not to be notified by anything at all. And that's a bad idea because it would be a great way for you to know, for instance, that you've received a submission comment from your teacher. So you'll want to add that as soon as you get a comment, you'd like to know about it. So you can go back in there and fix it and resubmit it. You can have it sent to your school email. You can see up here, this is the other personal email that I added. And you can have it texted to your phone number. If you're worried about texting charges, then you can take that off of there and just make sure that you're receiving this information in a different way. You'll also want to know about your grades, and if you click this blue box here, then your grade itself will be included in the notification that you receive. So I would check all of those. You'll want to receive any announcements that your teachers add into the Canvas system immediately, so you're not waiting till you go into Canvas to find out things that are important to know. And then it would be a good idea to be notified about due dates to remind you when the upcoming due dates are approaching so that you'll stay on track and get your work turned in on time. You will be doing discussions in here, so you probably like to be notified when you have a discussion due and when someone posts in your discussion. So if someone makes a comment to your discussion, you'd like to know about it, you'll be notified there. You can check any of these other things that you think you might like to be notified about, but mostly make sure you change the due dates, the announcements, the grading, the submission comments, and the discussion posts. Those are the main things for you to check. I recommend that you check the first box so that you'll be notified immediately, but if you prefer to get a daily or weekly summary, that's up to you. Whatever works best for you.
I'm going to go back to the home page and we're going to look at that assignment. So when you go into an assignment, you're always going to see the same general information. You have your title of your assignment, the due date, how many points it's worth, what types of files you can submit for that assignment, and when it's available. All of these assignments are going to be available from the beginning of the quarter, but this is the most important date. When is it locked? Once it's been locked, it will not be unlocked by your teacher. So you want to make sure, you want to try to get it in by the due date, let's be honest. Teacher's going to be happier, you're going to be less stressed. But if you don't get it in by that due date, definitely make sure you're getting it in before that lock deadline. Then you're going to see some general directions, which are pretty much the same in every assignment, save for a few that might be kind of like these specialized assignments. Basically tells you to open the attached lesson below. So any blue links you see down here are the assignment. Follow the directions that are included within the Word document. A majority of the assignments are in Word, and so if your computer does not have Word, you want to make sure that you get it downloaded onto your computer, and you can download Word onto up to 5 devices at home through your Office 365 account. Any questions and activities that expect a written response are in green, and I'll be opening this assignment to show you what I mean. If the assignment is not in Word, for instance, if it's in a PDF, and we had to do that with some because the files were so big, then you won't be able to type into it. In that case, you will see multiple links here, and one will be an answer document, with all the questions in green, and you'll type your answers directly into that document. And so when you type your answers, you want to make sure they're in a different font, a different color font, because that enables your teacher to be able to identify your answer versus the other content within the assignment. Once you've worked on your assignment, even if you've done one question, you want to save that assignment. So it already has a file name down here. What we want you to do is we want you to add your first and last name to the end of this file name so that we know whose it is. That's also good and a good indicator for you, because sometimes when you open the assignment here, it's going into your downloads. And sometimes you might just look at it and then you go in the next day and you open a new one, and now you have a second one in your downloads, and then maybe a third one in your downloads. And so oftentimes students get confused about which one they're submitting, and they'll submit the incorrect assignment. They'll submit one with no answers in it. So you really want to make sure it's the one you've been working on, and the best indicator for that is to change the file name a bit by putting your first and last name at the end of it. You'll submit it to your teacher through Canvas, and the way that you're going to do that is right here, this blue Submit Assignment button. When you click on Submit Assignment, it's going to allow you to choose the file that you want to submit. You'll open it up. Now you'll see the file name here, and then you'll click Submit Assignment. It takes some time, but it then tells you over here, Submission Turned In, and it tells you the date that it was turned in and the time. In this case, it's far after March 22nd, so it's telling me that this is late, and it has my assignment here. So notice it's a clickable link. Another good habit to get into is to always open that, and again, make sure it's the one you intended to submit, because you can always resubmit assignment if it's not. If you accidentally submitted the one that didn't have any answers in it, and you check that right here, right now, when you just finished submitting it, you can click Resubmit Assignment, find the correct one, and then resubmit it. We're going to go back to the home page, and I'm going to actually open that assignment because I want to show you what the expectations are for an assignment. So again, they're mostly Word documents. You'll open the document once it's downloaded onto your computer, and you'll see an image. Most assignments start with an image. They've got the title of the reading, they have an image here, and an essential question. The essential question is not something you have to answer right now, but it is something to read and keep in mind as you're going through the reading, because this is related to the theme of the story or the poem or the play that you're reading. And so you want to keep this in mind because these ideas are constantly going to be coming back up. Then we have your introduction page. Your introduction page is essentially what your teacher would be teaching you if you were sitting in a brick and mortar classroom. It might be sometimes what we're teaching you when we're teaching you in the classrooms that we hold. So you have your introduction, which is just trying to get you to think about some of the ideas that you're going to be seeing in the reading. Making the connection, which if you see it here, it's green. We may also be putting some of these in as discussions, in which case you won't see this making the connection, but you'll have it in a discussion post and you would have already answered it at this point. But again, because you see it here and it's in green, we would expect you to put your cursor right there and begin typing your answer. Imagine a situation that may cause you to panic. Compose a brief paragraph explaining your physical and mental reaction. It tells you it's worth 5 points. So I want to make sure I put a brief paragraph together, 3 or 4 sentences, to talk about a time I panicked and how it made me feel. Then they have information here on a ballad. And again, depending on what you're reading, the information in each of these introduction pages is going to be different. This particular poem is a ballad, so it's teaching me about ballad. It's telling me what characterizes a ballad. Talks about sound devices in the next segment. And then it gives me a skill that I'm working on for my reading. So these skills for reading are something that you're going to actually have to do as you read. And so oftentimes they have these graphic organizers that you're going to have to come back and fill in after you're done doing the reading. So while you will have read this before you do the reading, you need to remember to come back and do this particular section. It always gives you some background to the author, and then it goes into the reading. The reading is over on the left-hand side of the page, and over on the right, you're going to see close read questions. Close read questions are intended for you to answer as you're reading. So I'm not going to read the whole thing and then come back through and answer all of these. I'm going to look at my first question because it's right here at the top and it's telling me to analyze visuals. So I'm going to look here at the visual and look at the question and then answer it right here after this. So what mood is created by this painting? Well, I look here and I see that their feet look like they're maybe in a hurry because they're kind of blurry and stuff. So I get this sense of urgency. I get this sense of anger from the bright, bold colors. And so I would talk about those here. Scrolling down, oftentimes you'll find highlighted things within your reading. And that helps you to know that that question is addressing this particular section of lines because they're highlighted the same color. The same here. So again, as you're reading, stop, you know you have to answer a question. Read again, stop, you know you have to answer a question. One issue that you will run into is as you answer your questions here, things will start to move down. So you just want to be very careful about how far things move down, and you can always try to help them move back up by clicking the delete button and so on. When you get to the end of an assignment, you're going to have after read questions. There are typically about 10 after read questions, maybe a little more, sometimes less, and they increase in order of difficulty. So we start with simple recall questions, clarifying questions, and those are worth less points. As our questions increase in difficulty, our point values go up. But again, notice that each of these questions is in green, and so it would expect a response from you, and you would then change the color of your font so that you are differentiating your answer from the question. One thing to remember and pay close attention to is that oftentimes these questions ask you to support your answers by citing details from the poem. So 5 here, for example, says identify the two speakers in the poem and their relationship. Support your answers by citing details from the poem. I do not want to see an answer that says they're a husband and wife and nothing else, okay? You need to support your answer by citing details. So I believe these two speakers to be a husband and wife. What causes me to believe this is that in the second to last stanza, someone says, were the vows you swore deceiving? That makes me think of wedding vows. And the response is, no, I promise to love you, dear, but I must be leaving. And so that makes me think a husband is saying, oh, I do love you, and a husband and wife love each other, but he can't stay. So you need to give those reasons. Your answers can't really be marked all that wrong if you are able to support your answer. And that's what we're really trying to teach you in English, is to give support, to give evidence, to be able to back up your opinion. If you can do those things, you have a leg to stand on, and we can't say, oh, you're wrong. You want to make sure that you're answering all parts of the question as well. Sometimes there are multiple questions within these questions, and so you want to make sure you answer every part, especially for those higher point questions. One good thing about these assignments, and they do range in length, this one in particular is short, but there are some that are upwards of 40 pages because they're plays and it's more spread out. But the best thing you can do when you're turning in work samples to your homeroom teachers is to print off these after read questions. So when you go to print, you just want to make sure that you select, in this case, pages 6 and 7, because that's where my questions are, and it will have all your responses to it, and just print those 2 pages instead of the entire assignment. We're not While we need to prove that you're doing the work and we need to do that for attendance purposes, we don't need to kill trees. We cannot stress to you enough the importance of making sure you save your work the moment you begin working on it, especially here at school. We have one tower controlling multiple computer screens, and inevitably someone will accidentally shut the tower down and it will cause multiple screens to go out and kids to lose their work. The way to avoid this from happening and avoid the frustration of it happening is to make sure that the moment you start putting answers into your document, you are sure to save it. We want to encourage you to save everything to your OneDrive account because, as stated earlier, you can work on it no matter where you are. Then you can work on it here at school, at home, the library, a friend's house. So once you've started working, you're going to go to File, Save As, and you're going to choose your online locations. OneDrive will be one of your options when you're here at school, so you'll click that. It's a great idea to go ahead and make sure you have files because as you continue to take English courses, the number of files here in your OneDrive will grow and grow. So creating files for the specific courses you're in will help you keep everything organized. After reading questions, and then add your name at the end. I will replace that document. And now it's in my OneDrive. So when I've completed all of my questions and I've saved it to my OneDrive, I will come back to my Canvas course. I will click the blue Submit Assignment button. This year, we have streamlined things a bit by adding the Office 365 app into one of the options for submitting. You will click the blue Login button. It will prompt you to log into Office 365, and in subsequent times, it should just automatically recognize you, and you won't have to type in your student email address and your birth date. Remember, you should be saving it to a folder, and then I've got my after reading questions there. If I select the box in front of it, I will click Attach File, and now my file name is there, and I click the blue Submit Assignment button. So again, we want to encourage you to use Office 365 as the means of saving all your assignments. This was a lot of information, so I really encourage you to come into the English lab, ask us questions. We're available. We're there for you. We're there every day from 8 in the morning until 2 in the afternoon. And we encourage you to come in. We want you to attend our classes. We want you to get as much out of this English course as possible. So we really look forward to working with you this quarter and for the rest of the year. Thanks so much, guys.